We got a new event. Let's talk about it. What's up, dudes? This is going to be a little bit of a different video. Now, before I get started, I would like to say this isn't any kind of, hate towards the developers or anything of that nature. It's just kind of my opinion from being somebody that plays this game quite a bit. And just kind of figured I'd voice my opinions on events in general and content. And, with the new event coming out, I figured this would be a decent time to do it. So, the new event came out today. It is January 18th. And this one's going to go into February. February 4th is when this one ends. The rewards are going to be 87 overall All-Star Legend Cliff Floyd and 87 overall Breakout Flashback Ian Kinsler. Now, it's January to start, okay? And these cards are really useless. Nobody's going to be playing this event for Diamond Floyd and Diamond Kinsler. Now, you might see people going for the other rewards. In this event, you have where if you get 25 cumulative wins or a 12-game win streak, or a 12-entry win streak, I guess, is you get a 90 to 94 Live Series Diamond player. And then if you get 35 cumulative wins, you get a guaranteed Finest player. Now, that's cool and all. The only thing I will say is we're really harping out those guaranteed Finest players. Like, holy shit. I mean, we've gotten a lot of them. Now, they've been doing guaranteed Finest they did it for World Series. They're doing it again for World Series. They did it for some missions or programs and stuff like that. And that's cool and all, but like, I feel like at this point, to keep the game going, and I understand this is towards the end of the game's life cycle, content should be scaled to usable at least, or a card that makes you think about using it at this point, and something a little fresh still, to keep the game fresh and to keep you coming back and playing it. A guaranteed Finest doesn't really do that for me personally. I mean, if you're like me, you probably have a lot of the Finest cards anyway, but not gonna knock it. I'll still get it. Hopefully they get JD, because I don't have JD. I'd like to try him. But back to the actual event rewards here. We're looking at Cliff Floyd and Ian Kinsler. Second base is kind of a weak spot, but nobody's going to use this Ian Kinsler. I'd like to show you this Ian Kinsler. So, here's Ian Kinsler's stats. He's not god-awful, but he's just not going to be usable in, let's say, ranked seasons, which is really where you're using the cards you collect. He's just not usable. There's just no way that he's fitting in. Would this have been a better card, per se, early content, like early game cycle? Sure, maybe. You could argue that would be a playable thing. But in January, this card right here, nobody's getting excited for Ian Kinsler. And his power is extremely low to the point that where power is kind of the meta in this game, nobody's going to be jumping at the bit to get this card. It's just not usable. You're not going to be going into ranked seasons going, I'm going to try to get World Series. Let me put Ian Kinsler in a second. That's just my take. Maybe you are. And again, I'm not trying to knock you if you are. It's just, I don't think a lot of players are. Cliff Floyd is a little bit better, but still not really usable at this time of the game. And I like Cliff Floyd. Cliff Floyd is an exciting player. I love Cliff Floyd. It would have been really cool to have had this card maybe earlier in the year, or have him a little bit juiced to where he's more usable, I guess. He's got contact in the 90s, power in the 70s, and vision in the 75. So, I mean, he's not completely unusable. But, I mean, who are you benching to put Cliff Floyd in? Most of us have Immortals. And, I mean, we all have at least one Immortal outfielder. Being Mike Trout was easy to get, you know? You're just really not gonna. I don't know. I don't see a lot of people in ranked seasons using this card, and it would have been cool to have maybe used him. It would have been cool at this point for an event reward per se to be a card that made you go, I want to at least try that in a ranked seasons game. You know what I mean? I want to actually use it. It's playable. I think event rewards should have been scaled to the life of the game, and this card right here in particular, I don't really know how you could boost him more. But he would have been better for early game cycle content. Honestly, you could have flipped him and Eric Gagne, who Eric Gagne, 96 overall, was given out at an event that ended on May 30th. he was really the only one that you're going to use in your ranked season lineup. The nerf of Donaldson, Batista, all that, yeah, those aren't really the biggest of usable cards. And it would have been nicer to have actually to play an event, get a card, and go, hey, I want to use that. You know what I mean? Create lineup variation and to give you some new stuff to try. Keep the game fresh. At this point of this game cycle, these cards, the event rewards, and again, I'm not saying that Cliff Floyd should be what I'm about to say, but event rewards in January, in December, in November, and October, they should have been higher. Posey, Donaldson, Votto, 91's not really usable. There's way too many cards that are better. They should have at least been boosted to the point that they're in that 95 to 96, 97 range. I mean, think about how many cards you actually see in this game that are like a 97. You really don't. Besides a couple Flyers players and Jeff Bagwell being, what, a 98, you really don't see a lot of cards that get even close to Immortals. It's almost like it seemed like they were scared to maybe make cards near there. Again, I don't know, and that's not a shot. I'm just being honest with what I've seen. I just feel like at this point, rewards should be a little bit juiced so that you can have a fresh look at the game, something fresh to touch, some lineup variation. Ranked seasons, for instance, which again, the main spot you're using the cards you collect is so repetitive. You're seeing the same 3-4 players at every position. Perfect world, and again, I don't know how rights work. I don't know how they go about getting players. I don't know about any of that. But a perfect world would give you fresh content where you might see 30 players per position being played. Something where you're not going, I know that this guy's going to be using either Yogi, Piazza, or Kyle Schwarber at catcher. And honestly, more likely Kyle Schwarber at catcher. That's what you're seeing in ranked seasons. And so again, it would have been nice to see cards that are in the 95s, 96, 97 for late game content, which is what we're in. I hope, and I guess the reason I'm making this video per se is not for me to say I hate events. I don't. I love events because they make you go, oh, I can only use cards from this division, or oh, I can only use left hand. I like the quirks of events. They make me play with cards that I wouldn't have played with before. But at this point, it's like, I need to grind for World Series. There's no point for me to really grind for this Cliff Floyd and Ian Kinsler. So I guess it goes back to, I hope that in 2019, or I hope that in MLB The Show 19, first off, I hope there's no Immortals. I know that might irk some of you, might not, I don't know. Leave in the comment section below if you like Immortals. I'd love to hear your feedback on this also. But if there's no Immortals, I feel like you can get a lot more cards closer to 99. I personally like the rating system that can be over 125 or to 125 and stuff like that. I think you can be more precise with your ratings. But the content needs to be scheduled to a point where it's usable in the year. Like, I'm not saying that way you all have a God Squad, but like, at least to let some of these events toward the end of the year be usable. I hope that there's no Immortals. I hope that you're allowed to have 99, 98, 97, and then I hope that they scale content to the game cycles, to the life of the game cycle. Again, give me a 95, a 96, something that I can use here in January or December or February or November. Give me something that I can use in that schedule to where it's kind of fun to keep playing. And I think in the end, that'd be a better move in terms of them making revenue. I think you'd see people buying stubs because if they can't play the event, they'd be like, I want that card, I want to try it. You know, I think it'd be a monetary gain for SDS in the end, but it would also keep the game fresh, more fun, and just exciting, which is kind of not where we're at now, in my opinion. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. If I am wrong, let me know. Are you super excited for All-Star legend Cliff Floyd and breakout flashback Ian Kinsler? Do they fit on your team? Am I being a spoiled bitch? I don't know. Let me know. Again, this was a different video. I just kind of wanted to say, essentially, I like events, but please, for the love of God, scale it to the content, scale it to the game schedule, and keep it where there's some fresh stuff in the game that's usable, or at least makes you go, I want to try it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. This was a weird rant, and I apologize, but, you know, I don't know. I wanted to do it. So let me know if you enjoyed this. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up. If you didn't, let me know what you think. Let me know what you disagree with. Let me know what you agree with. I'd be interested. Again, I'm not trying to start a big shit war. I'm not trying to have people, oh, fuck you, this is great, or oh, fuck you, this is terrible. I don't want that. I didn't want to make this video for people to be like, oh, SDS, what are you doing? That's not the goal. But just a little discussion on what you think for content schedules and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. And if you're super duper into the content that you see on this YouTube channel, then you need to get your butt over to twitch.tv/DaddyDimmuTV. Because actually, we're about to be streaming this now. I'm going to play for this. I know I just said I'm not really excited for it, but I mean, whatever. I'm still going to play for it. Smile. So, go over to Twitch. It'll be in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!